You're in an argument. You know you're right. You have facts, logic, evidence. But somehow, you're losing. The other person isn't even making sense, but everyone's nodding along with them. You're getting frustrated, your voice is rising, and the more you try to prove your point, the more you look like the problem. What just happened? You fell for it. The oldest psychological trick in the book. They didn't win because they were right. They won because they controlled the frame. And you didn't even notice. Here's what most people don't understand about arguments. Winning has nothing to do with being correct. It has everything to do with perception. The person who stays calm wins. The person who makes the other person look emotional wins. The person who controls the narrative wins. Truth is secondary. Optics are everything. Let me show you how this works. Someone makes an accusation. You never listen to me. You immediately defend yourself. That's not true. I always listen. Now you're on defense. You're justifying. You're explaining. And the more you explain, the guiltier you look. Because innocent people don't need to defend themselves this hard, right? Wrong. But that's how it reads. They just won without proving anything. This is called the burden of proof shift. They made a claim, but instead of them proving it, you're now disproving it. And psychologically, disproving a negative is almost impossible. You can't prove you always listen, but they don't have to prove you never listen. One example is enough for them. 0 examples from you still leaves doubt. They framed the argument, you walked right into it. Here's another one. You're debating something. You make a solid point. Instead of addressing it, they attack your tone. Why are you getting so emotional? Or, calm down, it's not that serious. Now you're not arguing about the topic anymore, you're defending your emotional state. And the second you say, I'm not emotional, you've lost. Because now that's what everyone's focused on, your composure, not your point. This is called tone policing. It's a deflection tactic. They can't beat your argument, so they attack how you're delivering it. And it works, because the person who loses their cool loses credibility, even if they're 100% right. Here's the trick to winning any argument. You don't win by being right. You win by making the other person look wrong. And there's a formula for it. Step 1. Stay calm, no matter what. No raised voice, no emotion. Even if you're screaming inside, your exterior is ice. Because the calmer you are, the more unhinged they look if they react. You control the temperature of the room. If you're calm, their anger looks irrational. If you match their energy, you both look childish. Step 2. Reframe their attack. They say, you never help around here. You don't defend, you reframe. It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed. Let's talk about how we both can contribute more effectively. Now you've shifted from defense to problem solving. You didn't deny, you didn't justify, you redirected, and suddenly you look reasonable. They look like they're complaining. Step 3. Ask questions instead of making statements. Statements can be debated. Questions force them to defend. They say you're always late. You say, what would you consider on time? Now they have to define the standard. And whatever they say, you can work with. So if I'm here by 9:05, that's late. They either have to double down and look rigid or backtrack and lose ground. Either way, you win. Step 4. Use their words against them. This is advanced. They say, you don't care about this. You say, I hear you saying I don't care. Help me understand what caring looks like to you. Now they have to explain, and most people can't, because they're not arguing from logic, they're arguing from emotion. And the second they try to define it, it falls apart. You've just exposed that their accusation was based on feeling, not fact. Step 5. Agree and redirect. This one breaks people's brains. They expect resistance, so when you give them agreement, they don't know what to do. They say, you never listen. You say, you're right, I could be better at that. What specifically would help you feel heard? Now you've taken their weapon away. They can't fight someone who's agreeing with them, and you've turned the argument into a productive conversation. You just won without them realizing the fight is over. Here's what all of these tactics have in common. You're not focused on being right. You're focused on controlling the frame. The frame is the lens through which the argument is viewed. If they control it, you lose. If you control it, you win. It's that simple. Most people argue to prove they're right. That's ego. And ego loses arguments because when you're trying to be right, you're defensive, you're emotional, you're invested in the outcome, and that makes you predictable, easy to manipulate, easy to trigger. But if you argue to control the narrative, you're strategic, you're detached, you're 3 steps ahead, and that makes you unstoppable. Here's the psychology behind why this works. Humans don't remember facts, they remember feelings. You can win every logical point in an argument, but if people walk away feeling like you were aggressive, condescending, or defensive, you lost, because they won't remember what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel, and feelings spread faster than facts. This is why politicians, lawyers, and narcissists are so good at arguing. They're not interested in truth, they're interested in perception. And they know that if they can make you look bad, your points don't matter. So here's what you do. You stop caring about being right. You start caring about being effective. You stop reacting. You start responding. You stop defending. You start redirecting. And you never, ever let them see you sweat. Because the person who stays calm holds the power. The person who controls the frame wins the argument. And the person who understands this will never lose again. Not because they're smarter, because they know the game. And now, so do you.